If you've been putting off investing in an Airbnb because you think you need the perfect property, the perfect market, or a massive renovation budget, this episode is going to completely change the way you think about Airbnb investing. So many aspiring hosts stay stuck, overanalyzing details, convinced they need a luxury cabin and a six-figure renovation to compete. Meanwhile, they're watching everyone else cash flow while they sit on the sidelines feeling frustrated that they're missing out on the opportunity. But here's the truth. We turned a boring inherited cabin in a saturated Airbnb market into a top performing guest favorite, generating over $5,000 a month without spending a fortune. In this episode, we're breaking down the exact low budget design upgrades, Airbnb amenities, and strategic decisions that help this property jump from rank number 99 to number 9 in its market, including the simple changes that increase first page impressions by 8x. We'll also show you exactly how to make an average property stand out, maximize cash flow on a tight budget, and avoid wasting money on renovations that don't actually move the needle. Let's jump in.
Buckle up. This is going to be a design banger.
So, Cullen inherited an Airbnb in a very popular ski, hiking, biking area that's saturated with other Airbnbs. It was a wonderful, unexpected inheritance, but it was a property and market we would never have chosen based on our specific investment buy box of unique architecture or views in emerging markets.
We were faced with a problem. How can we make this place stand out and maximize revenue without spending too much money?
I always start any design project thinking about 4 Airbnb design factors. Number 1, who is my target guest here, my avatar? In this specific location, it's skiers, hikers, and mountain bikers. Number 2, what is my 3-color palette? That will be revealed later. Number 3, the metal tone for the entire house. In this instance, it's going to be black. And number 4, my light theme. So I hate theme places. I do not want to see 1,000 bears stuck on walls and toilet paper holders, but it is nice to have some light theming that anchors your art choices, etc. So in this case, again, because of the avatars, it was skis and these really cute little pine trees on the side of the house gave me the idea to have a little bit of pine art going on in the house.
Yeah, not overdone.
No, not at all. All right. So having these 4 things in place allows me to quickly make the decisions needed to make it a cohesive design that is both special and pleasing to guests looking to stay in that particular market. Pro tip. So I love details. I am guilty of this. Avoid project creep. And the way to do this is to identify the top 2 or 3 things that you want to change in the property, like the big 3.
Right. There's always going to be 10 things that you want to change, but what are your top priorities?
Yeah. Cullen's looking at roofs and structural integrity, and I'm down to I wonder what color hinges would be perfect over here. We got to lock in a little bit. So, starting on the outside of this inherited cabin, it was a sad, boring, faded brown, and it desperately needed paint to make it pop. So that was my number 1 thing to change. With changes in technology, when I'm working with exterior paint choices in particular, I use ChatGPT to visualize the end result to make sure I'm happy with my decision before paying to have it painted. A lot less tears and wasted money that way. I tried to make the cabin so many other colors, moody dark grays and dark greens, but every time I uploaded the picture of the cabin and said, make it green, make it moody blue, it still looked
Like
boring.
or like every other cabin in the market.
So I realized I needed to go very, very bold, and I ended up choosing black with red trim and a red door to give a ski chalet vibe. Paint is one of the most inexpensive ways to make a big visual impact. In this case, it's the equivalent of putting a little black dress and red lipstick on instead of a pair of faded brown sweats.
I like it.
Also, if you know me at all, you know that I love to spray paint things. So I found a free pair of skis and I spray painted them red to make an outdoor art focal point. And I also painted the existing outdoor chairs that were around the fire pit. You guessed it, red. All right, moving to the inside design glow up of this cabin. Inside was very cottagecore style with sage walls and pink Formica countertops. Remember, the outside's black and red, and I need this to be a modern ski chalet feel, so something had to go big time. And as a pet-friendly Airbnb, our number 2 most important thing to change in the cabin was getting rid of the existing carpet that had had a lot of pet traffic and putting in LVP flooring.
Yeah, and the LVP not just for the pets, but also we were getting comments from the housekeepers like, I can't get this place clean. I can't clean a stained rug that we've tried to steam clean several times. So we went ahead and we got a quote from our go-to flooring company.
And it seemed really high to me. We've used this company, oh my gosh, for like 8
Yeah.
cabins, and I ended up asking our realtor in the area for another recommendation. That recommendation came back at half the price, which was great, but I still didn't have enough room in the budget for my number 3 priority, which was replacing the pink Formica countertops. It's really hard to pull off luxury ski chalet vibes with pink
Oh, it'll
countertops.
be fine.
Yeah, maybe a Barbie theme, but that's really not my jam. So, looking at the quote from the second company, I decided to take out the LVP treads on the stairs, which are really
Right.
expensive. And I ended up choosing a dark brown carpet that matched the flooring. And that worked because one, the stairs aren't a visual focal point in the cabin, like in any of the photos or just when you're there. Carpet is also safer from a slipping standpoint. And it saved so much money, again, on the treads and also in the labor of installing them.
Giving up the LVP treads on the stairs basically funded the quartz countertop.
Yes, so that left enough budget for me to swap out the hideous pink Formica for really bold black and white quartz countertops. There's like loads of movement, and that actually became the visual pop of the entire first floor of this A-frame.
Also important to note that Danielle has an outstanding relationship with our countertop supplier, Duchess. So they were able to dig around and get some remnants and get some gorgeous stone at a deep discount.
Yeah, Duchess and I are like besties.
That's kind of a key takeaway. Always get a second quote on larger projects and for just saving budget.
And even if you're really comfortable with the vendor that you've been using. The other takeaway is be creative about how to get what you want. I really wanted to change those countertops, and I had to work and rework the flooring to have enough cash left to
To
make
do it.
that happen. That was the bulk of the non-existent budget that we had to renovate an unexpected cabin inheritance. So how do we make the rest of the cabin appealing on this tight budget? Let's talk about the inside DIY upgrades. In the kitchen, I painted the existing kitchen cabinets instead of replacing them. It cost me $100 in my very favorite special Sherwin-Williams emerald enamel paint. That's not the color, but the actual brand of paint that I use. And it took about 2 days of my labor, 1 coat of primer, 2 coats of paint before they could be rehung. And it completely changed the kitchen. Like the before and afters are just
The other
amazing.
detail was changing out the cabinet knobs. We've used these leather pulls from Amazon that just really adds this modern rustic feel to the kitchen. And it's a detail that guests just love. In the living room, we also swapped out that tired sage couch for a bright red couch from my favorite, Bob's Discount Furniture. And fortunately, our flooring installation guys took the old couch for their camper. So that was just one less thing to get rid of.
I had 0 guilt getting rid of this couch when the guys that were working on the floors were like, "Yeah, that's not nice enough for our house, but I have an old camper that I had to burn the original couch in because there were mice in it, but this would be perfect for that." So, yeah, 0 guilt on that swap out. And once again, spray paint time. I spray painted another set of free skis. Helen helped me attach a metal wine rack to them, and we made this custom wall wine rack that was the focal point in the dining room. I believe it cost all of $12. Something to know is a little greenery goes a long way in making a space feel a little bit more luxurious and helping it pop visually on Airbnb. So instead of the normal fig tree that I use, I found a small Christmas tree on clearance and put it in a pot I already had at the cabin. It kept the ski chalet pine theme going and balanced the dark wood floors and the lighter walls.
That looks good.
Next up were the bedrooms. And this is where you want to spend a little bit of time because people really consider, particularly the master bedroom, when they're looking at an Airbnb to book. For the master bedroom focal point, there was a blank triangular wall with a window as you walk in. And I looked around and I got some Pinterest inspiration. And I'm like, how can I make this absolutely stunning for $0? I ended up reaching out to my friend back in my hometown of Pennsylvania, and she connected me with the wife of a tree guy. You have to be wondering, what are we talking about? They agreed to slice 3 different kinds of logs from their next job for me. And what I did with these log slices is I lightly sanded and shellacked them and then hung them all over the triangle wall. And it turned out to be this really cool, artsy, woodsy, modern art installation for a grand total of $40. For the guest room, I found inspiration from the grove of tiny pine trees next to the cabin driveway. I picked out clearance pine bough artwork from Wayfair to go over the bed and painted just that wall behind the bed as an accent wall. And I went with a dark, moody gray to match the art's background. Once again, instead of guessing on paint colors for the accent wall, because we were time and budget crunched in this particular situation, I used ChatGPT. I uploaded a photo of the bedroom wall as it was, uploaded the art I purchased, and then asked ChatGPT to put the art above the bed and give me a suggestion of a real Benjamin Moore paint color in dark gray that would go with the art I picked. And it was absolutely perfect.
And I love that it actually spits out the codes for the real colors.
Yes, you can't just be like, make it this. And then it's like, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm the internet. But if you ask for a specific Benjamin Moore paint color with the suggestion, it will give you that. I bought a quart of paint, put 2 coats on that accent wall, hung the art myself. Colin wasn't there. And it took this bland, boring bedroom and made it super interesting. I kept the original bed and the end tables I didn't like. I just swapped in a white duvet cover to pop against the dark accent wall, and that bedroom was done. Finally, for the bunk bedroom, once again, I needed to do something interesting and inexpensive. I swapped the floral quilts on the beds to red duvets, and I hung a ski lift wall mural on the far right wall. That was all it took to go from blah to breathtaking.
The other thing we did there was we removed this old massive armoire that wasn't really necessary, but it was hiding the internet router and cables. It was a small room to begin with, so removing the ugly piece of furniture and putting the small router behind a box from Amazon on the wall simplified and enlarged the space.
So, if you're wondering what we're talking about, it's a router hiding box, and you can choose the color or, spray paint it to match your wall. And there's enough airspace that it doesn't overheat, and there's space for the antenna,
Yeah.
so you aren't losing your Wi-Fi signal, but you're also not needing to have an entire piece of furniture to hide that. All right, so those were the big things that we did. What about the small things? People ask me all the time about the little things because they matter. I swapped all the pattern duvets for solid pin tuck duvets in my color schemes of black, red, and white. We changed the shower curtains to match our color theme. We updated light fixtures in the bathrooms with modern $35 fixtures from Amazon.
I pulled out that old medicine cabinet mirror built-in thing.
Oh my gosh, that makes so much more space, especially in a small bathroom. Pull out the medicine cabinet. And in this case, we didn't even drywall the hole. I just found a larger mirror from Home Goods and stuck it over the hole. Don't tell anyone. We were so budget crunched that I ended up spray painting the lamps that were there black to go.
You didn't like?
I know, I didn't like them at all. Our painter's like, what kind of quote are you looking for? And I was like, well, I'm currently spray painting lamps I don't like. And he was like, okay, I'll try to help you out there. Very easy thing. I stained all the nicks and scratches in the existing furniture to give it a little bit more life. Eventually we'll need to replace it, but it helped it go from like, wow, this is really worn to completely passable. Another thing was I swapped in black IKEA plates instead of the hodgepodge of floral dishes because
Don't like the hodgepodge.
Cullen couldn't stand it, and it also just really didn't go with what we were trying to do. Next, I printed $4, you got it, pine prints from Etsy on my printer at home and put them in frames a neighbor had put on the curb, keeping my light pine theme going, but not overdoing it.
Right.
They're all different. They're not the same. They're not large.
And in the hodgepodge, we removed a lot of clutter and opened things up, got rid of things that weren't adding to the guest experience. And it just made things more open and airy and look bigger and more of an Airbnb feel.
Absolutely. For example, there were these ceramic jars on top of the kitchen cabinets. Yeah. And they were different, but they were not necessary. And they look much better at Goodwill.
And then we chose one other big amenity to stand out from the competition. We got an outdoor sauna on clearance sale at Wayfair. We've done a lot of hot tubs in the past, but we've been moving to the saunas. They're just something that guests don't have at their home. They're kind of on trend these days, and they totally work for that avatar or skier, hiker, biker. It's also an amenity that many of our competition don't have. Everybody's got a hot tub. Not everybody wants to use a hot tub, but it fills the same need. It's a lot less expensive and like zero maintenance. Okay. Pro tip: none of these paint and design and amenity changes matter unless you can capture them with quality professional HDR photos to put up on Airbnb. Our normal professional photo guy isn't from this market, and so we weren't able to use him. And we reached out to our realtor and gave us a really great recommendation.
Yeah, she did magical things with the lighting to make that house look as amazing as it possibly could. And in the future, we plan to take profits to fund installing an EV charger, again from Amazon, to stack amenities and differentiate this cabin even more in the market. And if you haven't done it yet, guest funding amenities feels so great. Instead of digging in your own pocket or savings account, you wait, pay your mortgage, get through a couple months. And when you have a little extra cash flow, that's the time you can go back in and do the next thing and the next thing. So instead of being cash strapped and freaked out, you can launch and know that you're going to make it even better and not have to pay for it yourself. And the reason we were thinking EV charger is there are 3.3 million electric cars in the United States, and those people want to be able to book a stay even at remote cabins.
There's over 500 listings in this market. Only 48 of them have an EV charger, and only 23 have an EV charger and a hot tub or sauna.
So that's an instance of amenity stacking to stand out from your competition.
And the results from these paint changes, interior design changes that Danielle did weren't just design, right? They weren't just the aesthetics. We saw an immediate change in our analytics. The cabin's rank jumped from 99 to 9, like overnight, as soon as we reposted the photos. And it's now a constant fixture on page 1 for its market. In RankBreeze, similar listings are showing 961 first page impressions per month. And this cabin is now getting over 7,600 first page impressions per month. That's 8x. That's 8 times more impressions. And so, as you may suspect, higher page rank, more impressions, more wish lists, we're able to get a higher nightly rate and much higher occupancy.
So there you have it. You now know exactly how we transformed a boring cabin in a saturated market into a standout guest favorite, grossing over $5,000 a month on a tight budget. You also learned my 4 Airbnb design factors for designing desirable and profitable Airbnbs.
Well, if you're feeling stuck and feel like you need some help on your Airbnb design or investing journey, that's what we do. Head over to hostcoach.co to schedule a free 30-minute discovery call with either of us. Remember,
our joy is in your success.